In the name of Allah, the entirely merciful, the especially merciful. This is a statement about intercession, shafa'ah, by Imam al-Mahdi Naser Mohamed al-Yemeni, read to you by one of his followers. The question said, "Can you tell us more about the shafa'ah?" Imam Naser Mohamed al-Yemeni said, "I will speak of the shafa'ah from the Quran only and show you how much you have been misled by all those hadith that are used to shake your faith in Allah and take partners with Him. Allah Almighty said, O ye who believe, if any from among you turn back from his faith, soon will Allah produce the people whom He will love as they will love Him, lowly with the believers, mighty against the rejectors, fighting in the way of Allah, and never afraid of the reproaches of such as find fault. That is the grace of Allah, which He will bestow on whom He pleased, and Allah encompasseth all, and He knoweth all things." Imam al-Mahdi continues, "I warn you all, do not exaggerate in your love to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I warn my followers also, do not exaggerate in your love to me. For we are all the servants of Allah, and no one will forgive except Him. Nothing will save you except a sound, pure heart in line with the ayah." Allah said, "But only he that brings to Allah a sound heart." So, do not exaggerate in your love to the prophets, for all prophets are innocent from those who ask them shafa'ah. They will not give it to them. As Allah said, "Those in the fire will say to the keepers of hell, pray to your Lord to lighten us the penalty for a day at least." They will say, "Did there not come to you your apostles with clear signs?" They will say, "Yes." They will reply, "Then pray as you like, but the prayer of those without faith is nothing but futile wandering in mazes of error." So, the shafa'ah in the Quran is mentioned many times, and it has mostly been linked to the fact that only Allah will forgive and no one else will ask Allah to forgive His servants. However, there are some ayah which state that Allah will only permit shafa'ah to someone with certain conditions. This will be discussed in details to show you the real meaning of shafa'ah, which has nothing to do with that special servant of Allah pleading Allah to forgive His people. This is again from misunderstanding hadith and some weak hadith. I will speak from the Quran only, which has been preserved, and to show you again that the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam must be in line with the Quran, since the sunnah and hadith can be corrupted, added, subtracted, and changed by the human devils who want to divide you and deviate you from the true path. So, anything hadith or sunnah which is not in line with Quran is not from Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The shafa'ah, as you speak of Sunni and Shia, is completely misunderstood. How did you think that the servant of Allah will ask Him to forgive when Allah is most merciful? Use your mind. Do you really think that the special servant who will ask shafa'ah will be more merciful than Allah? Did you not know that Ar-Rahmah or mercy is one of the names describing Allah as He is the most merciful? Did you think that those in heaven will have mercy on those in hell more than Allah's mercy? Allah said, the companions of the fire will call to the companions of the garden, pour down to us water or anything that Allah does provide for your sustenance. They will say, both these things has Allah forbidden to those who rejected Him. So, do you think there will be shafa'ah and they will ask Allah to forgive those in hell? What did Jesus, Isa, the son of Mary, say when Allah questioned him about his followers? As in ayah, if thou dost punish them, they are thy servant. If thou dost forgive them, thou art the exalted in power, the wise. So, Jesus Isa returned the shafa'ah to the one who is more merciful than him and more merciful than Prophet Mohamed sallallahu alaihi wasallam and more merciful than the awaited Mahdi. Then we have Prophet Nuh pleading God to forgive his son who did not get on the ark. Allah said, and Nuh called upon his Lord and say, O my Lord, surely my son is of my family, and thy promise is true, and thou art the justest of judges. He said, O Nuh, he is not of thy family, for his conduct is unrighteous. So ask not of me that of which thou hast no knowledge. I give thee counsel, lest thou act like the ignorant. Nuh said, O my Lord, I do seek refuge with thee, lest I ask thee for that of which I have no knowledge, and unless thou forgive me and have mercy on me, I should indeed be lost. From the above ayah, we can see that Nuh asked God to forgive his son. Yet, Nuh did not know that his conduct is unrighteous, and so God told him not to ask him this, since God is all-knowing of what his son did. Then Nuh realized his mistake of asking God and pleaded God to forgive him for asking, not to mention that on the day we gather them, no one will be able to speak to Allah, not even the angels or prophets, in line with the ayah. The day that the Spirit and the angels will stand forth in ranks, none shall speak except any who is permitted by Allah, most gracious, and He will say what is right. So, please tell me, how will anyone ask shafa'ah when no one is even allowed to speak? Every time shafa'ah is mentioned in Quran, it is always denied with a few exceptions. Let us look at how Quran links shafa'ah to Allah only. Allah said, then will no intercession of intercessors help them. And Allah said also, then guard yourselves against the day when one soul shall not avail another, nor shall intercession be accepted for her, nor shall compensation be taken from her, nor shall anyone be helped. Allah said also, O you who believe, spend out of the bounties we have provided for you before the day comes when no bargaining will avail, nor friendship, nor intercession. Those who reject faith, they are the wrongdoers. Allah said also, warn them of the day that is ever drawing near, when the hearts will come right up to their throats to shock. No intimate friend or intercessor will the wrongdoer have who could be listened to. And many other verses repeat this fact over and over again. Now let us look at those verses that permit shafa'ah and understand the conditions and how it will happen. Allah said, none shall have the power of intercession, but such a one as has received permission from Allah most gracious. Allah said, on the day shall no intercession avail except for those for whom permission has been granted by Allah most gracious, and whose word is acceptable to Him. Allah said, no intercession can avail in His presence except for those for whom He has granted permission. So far in this the case that when terror is removed from their hearts at the day of judgment, then will they say, what is it that your Lord commanded? They will say, that which is true and just, and He is the Most High, Most Great. Allah said, He knows what is before them and what is behind them, and they offer no intercession except for those who are acceptable, and they stand in awe and reverence of His glory. So the shafa'ah has conditions, and they are as follows. It must be from a servant of Allah whose soul is in peace, nafs mutma'inna, and who has no fear, in line with the ayah, and the day that their body will inspired, then will be smitten with terror those who are in the heavens and those who are on earth, except such as Allah will please. And all shall come to His presence as beings conscious of their lowliness. It must come from a servant who is not satisfied with all what Allah gave him from being a Khalifa on earth, since his true happiness is in seeing that Allah is pleased and satisfied with all His servants on earth. This servant does not want to enter paradise when he sees that there are still others who did not please Allah. It's not about helping others, but about seeing Allah pleased with His creations. How can he allow himself to enter paradise when Allah is still not pleased by many who deviated from Him? His main concern is not just that Allah is pleased, Radwan, it's a Radwan, about him, but that Allah is pleased with all His servants. This person's pleasure equals to see that Allah is pleased with all. So his pleasure derives from the pleasure of Allah. And this is how shafa'ah happens. For no servant is allowed to ask God shafa'ah for his people, since he is never more merciful than Allah. For when Allah grants His servants heaven and keep increasing all sorts of pleasures to him, we ask him, did we not appoint you as a Khalifa on earth in this world? And the next, the servants answer, I forbade it on myself till I reach the greatest pleasure that is greater than heaven, and that is Radwan Allah, the pleasure of Allah, that Allah is pleased with all His servants? Or do you not believe, people, that Allah said, Allah has promised to believers, men and women, gardens under which rivers flow to dwell therein, and beautiful mansions in gardens of everlasting bliss. But the greatest bliss is the good pleasure of Allah. That is the supreme felicity. This is the end of statement. God bless you all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.